Hello everyone, my name is Griff, and today we're going to be going over the newest, okay, someone's talking in the background on the home screen. We're going to be going over the newest banner in Dragalia Lost, the Gala Dragalia, which just went live today. Happy summer event, happy summer 1000-day celebration and all that. I haven't made a video in about a week. There hasn't been too much to make a video on, just some teasers for the Toll of the Depth event, and then obviously I was going to make a video going over the Toll of the Death event, but I noticed that it's not done yet. And there's actually going to be more story unlocking on the second, and then even more story unlocking on the first. So, today's the 30th. The way I'm probably going to do this is that tomorrow I'll be going over this month in Dragalia Lost, as always, so you can get your monthly updates. Then probably the day after that, I'll either be doing an event on this, since it's the second, or on the banner. And yeah, so there's a lot going on. But let's just get into this video. This one's probably going to be shorter because there's not too much to talk about. There's only 2 units on this banner, which actually is a good thing. And yeah. So, before we get into anything, and I actually already bought it. When banners come out, sometimes they update the in-game store, or the Wormite store, the Wormprint store rather. And one of these, I have them sorted by date for some reason. One of these that we have access to now is called, I believe, Super Circular Androids. Yes, Super Circular Androids. And this print is a new critical double buff 15% print. It also has Ocean Resonance, but in the long team that doesn't matter. This print is probably the most important print that's being currently run in the entire game. It's non-limited, so you can get it whenever you want, but if you do not have access to Feline Hospitality, which is a Monster Hunter exclusive print, you should go for this. And the thing about this video, really, is that this banner and even this print are both things that are kind of like options of limited, non-limited, limited things that are already in the game. So it's a little bit of a forecast for what I'm going to talk about, but critical double buff is a huge part of the speedrunning, double buff meta, which is not too popular in Curse of Nidhogg due to it being impossible to use. But if you're trying to speedrun things like the Agito Uprising, you're trying to speedrun things like Dragon Trials, this print will be a huge asset to you, so I do suggest that you do go for it. Now, let's get into the banner, because I don't think there's too much else to talk about. The Iberian Battle Royale also updated today. There is a new skin in there, but we'll look at the skin for a second. So this skin doesn't actually correspond to anyone currently in the game. It's possible that it could correspond to one of the other summer units that's going to be coming up soon. It's called the Rainbow Axe. Could be Titania. She gets a unit. It could be whoever the other mystery unit in that video. I won't spoil if you don't know who that is yet, but could belong to them. We'll have to see. Could be Mims for all we know. But let's get into the banner, because this is the most important part about today. So Gala Dragalia is now live. On Gala Dragalia, the percent rate goes from 4% standard to 6%. There's only 2 units right now, and let's actually see what's sparkable, if there's anything other than the 2 of them sparkable. So currently, oh, that's not the right button. Currently sparkable on this banner are, oh, okay, all the past summer units are sparkable. Actually, no, all the year, no? Certain summer units are, certain summer units aren't. Because these 2 are year 1 units, these 2 are year 2 units, but the second half event units are not. So I presume next banner, it's things like Summer Norman, Summer Sonoa, Summer Cleo, and Summer Barrica would be on. And then Gala Reborn Nidhogg is the only dragon sparkle. So there are other things sparkle. I didn't actually expect that. There usually aren't. But the main focus of this banner is going to be Gala Reborn Nidhogg and Summer Alex. And we're actually going to go in order. We're going to start with Gala Reborn Nidhogg. So, though I be a wicked worm raptured by death, I now draw to human life anew. Draw close to human. I butchered that, but regardless. This is Reborn Nidhogg. He's going to behave very similarly to the other Reborn Dragons in the sense that he is going to have this skill, which is going to be able to use twice. Essentially, you go in and you use it once, and then as long as you're attacking when the shapeshift would go up, you use the skill again. This one has the negative modifier against enemies in the break state because it does so much raw damage in it does I think it's a 24k 2400 rather modifier, because it's 300 hits 8 times, so it does a lot of damage. You don't really think about that. It's not really that big of a deal. But as far as his abilities go, he has strength 70%, and then he has the if the user attuned to shadow 30% modifier, and then you get the dragon gauge fail every 45 seconds. big part of this is that the competition for shadow dragons in comparison to other elements is higher in a sense, but it's also worse in a sense. So really the two primary dragons before this banner came out were Katsith and Arsene. Now Arsene is a limited crossover dragon which is no longer available. In most cases, for characters that want skill damage, Arsene's better than Reborn Nidhogg. You know, if someone wants like raw damage, obviously Nidhogg's gonna be better because they want raw damage. But you know, for example, Veronica or for Galacleo, they probably want Arsene because of the skill damage. The other dragon there is Katsith, who works on buffs and does damage based on the amount. Like she has these buffs that you uses to increase her damage. You use them whenever you know. I think it's you get a combo count of 30, you get a buff back, and then you use the buff whenever you use a skill. The problem with Katsith is that she is unusable in Curse and Nihility because Curse and Nihility gets away from her buffs. So now you have a Gala Dragon, which is almost unusable in Curse and Nihility. You have a Limited Dragon, which if you don't have, you can't get anymore. And you have Gala Reborn Nidhogg, who is going to be the premier dragon going forward in Curse and Nihility especially, and then also maybe in other content. So I'd honestly say this is almost, if you're thinking of doing Asuna, I think that's the name of the boss, Asuna, I don't know, next week, or actually tomorrow actually, when it goes live, you might want this dragon. You might want to look into getting this dragon because he is going to be just as good as all the other dragons, all the other Reborn dragons. He's going to be a kind of a staple. You might even want two, you know, whatever. But that's kind of the way I feel about this dragon specifically, is that he is kind of like, the competition on paper seems to be a lot, but in practice it's not going to be that much because again, Arsene's a limited dragon and Katsith is the limited dragon. You know, outside of that there isn't much there. So there's no runaway standard dragon that's really good as a standard damage dragon in Shadow. Those are all buffer dragons. You want Ramio and Azazel, they're right there. But as far as damage dragon goes, not too much there to compensate or actually argue with him. So 100% I'd go for him. Then I have the more interesting, the harder unit to talk about on this banner because she is just so decisive. And I think that her kit is almost a direct power creep of some other kits that have come out recently. So we have Summer Alex here. She is a flame bow. Very interesting that she's a flame bow. I think it's odd the way that they're posing this event is that she's a flame bow, and then there's kind of like stuff that's going to be pertaining to Shadow and Mana Caster. So it's looking like potentially Mim or some other character will be Shadow Mana Caster. So, you know, if, let's say, percent it is Mim, that's a Shadow Mana Caster. You know, they switched elements. That's weird. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm actually going to go for her second skill first, because her second skill actually changes what her first skill does. And the second skill works very similar to Nobunaga, which it's going to grant the Strength Amp and deal damage to enemies in a line and apply the Scorch Plume to them. When Scorch Plume is lost, the affected enemy will take damage and inflict it with Scorch Rend. Scorch Plume is lost when its remaining time is depleted or removed by Tropic Snipe skill, and it cannot be removed by attacks or effects that dispel buffs. So essentially, for 7 KSP, you get an Amp, you inflict Scorch Boon, and cannot be repelled while it's active, and then after 30 seconds it will go away, or if you use your first skill. And as you can see, when Scorch Boon is lost, it does about 1400 damage and inflicts Scorch Rend. Her first skill, Tropic Snipe, deals damage to enemies directly in line and lowers their Scorch resistance, and it's also shareable, which is huge. If this skill is used directly after burning bods, the following variants of the skill will be used instead. Deals damage directly in line, lowers their Scorch resistance, and removes Scorch Bloom to the enemies hit by this attack. The removal of Scorch Bloom will not count as having a buff being dispelled. So essentially, she can lower Scorch Rend resist, and then instantly apply Scorch Rend, all in the same modifier. Now, I don't know the exact number for this modifier. It's shared SP cost is huge, but I don't know the exact number for this chance of inflicting Scorch Rend. But as we'll go down here, and we're going to skip the co-ability and chain co-ability for right now, it's not going to matter. Her first ability is Flurry, Scorch Rend, Edge, and Sting 2. When the combo count is 15 or higher, increases the chance of inflicting Scorch Rend by 50% and its duration by 30%. And then you see Strength Amp equals Scorch Rend, Edge plus Sting 2. When the user has a Strength Amp, increases the chance of inflicting Scorch Rend by 30% and its duration by 30%. So, if you have a Strength Amp and 15% combo, your chance to increases Scorch Rend has gone up by 80% base, and its duration has gone up by 60%. On top of the fact, they have remove Scorchern resistance, and on top of whatever modifier this has to inflict it in the first place. And additionally, to help her with these two things, she's going to have Skill Haste as the bow ability, and Flame Combo Time 5, which gives her 2.5 seconds to get 15 hits, which on a bow is nothing. So essentially, as long as you have an amp on you, which might, that is the hardest part of her kit, I think. 7 SP for an amp is a little bit of a lot, but she is, you know, a bow with Skill Haste. If you're running someone else who has an amp on the team, there's a lot more potential there. Hopefully, you know, some of the other flame units will get added to have these really strong amps on them. But that's besides the point. She's just going to be a demon. Like, I don't know what other way to put it other than the fact that she's probably going to be one of the best Scorchern enablers in the game going forward. I don't see how they can really top this in the sense because she's almost guaranteed to cycle through Scorchern resist, you know, 100%, almost 100% uptime, depending on how fast her skills go up. You know, you have an extra 60% on the Scorchern, which is lasting 21 seconds, so, you know, it's lasting almost 30 seconds every time. You have 30 seconds to get the skill up, and you have 30 seconds. You literally have 30 seconds on this. So as long as you inflict Scorchern and then you reapply that, you know, you're fine every time. And she might not be the only one on your team who's inflicting Scorchern. And then additionally, she's also lowering Scorchern resistance, which I've heard stacks. I haven't seen this in practice yet, but I've heard this stacks up to 100. I have to see in practice if I get her, you know, if I use her, whatever. But yeah, I think that she is in a very interesting place at the moment. And I do think that she is definitely future-proofed, which I think is the most important for summoning right now. You know, are they going to be future-proofed for tomorrow's fight, which is a flame fight, or, you know, a past flame fight like Gala Dragalia? Which I do think that, you know, Scorchern is pretty important. I think combo time is pretty important, and I think skill haste is pretty important. This collab right here, this chain collab and collab together is amazing. It's like textbook perfect almost case for most characters in the game will want to run this. If they're trying, you know, just like an average good set to run, you get your skill haste, you get your combo time, boom, all in one together. And for her, it's super beneficial because she wants combo time and she wants to be able to get the strength amp, so she wants to have skill haste to cycle through her skills faster. So I do think she is worth it if you don't have a lot of flame adventures. To me personally, the team that I'm running, which I will actually show you right here, for Gala Dragalia, if I can find it right here, you know, this is not the team I'm running for Gala Dragalia. This is the team I'm running for Gala Dragalia. Here, you know, it's a bit harder case to make because I don't have as many. I mean, I have Leonidas, but, you know, I'm not really cycling through amps on this team. I'm not really cycling through Scorchern on this team. But in the future, you know, with more Mana Spirals, depending on what happens, we could see a meta where she is just going. It's kind of like, I'm digressing a lot, but it's kind of like when Xainfried got his Mana Spiral and it was Frostbite focused. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of Frostbite in the meta. As time goes on, there's more amps added into the game and there's more Scorchern added into the game. She will only get better. So I do think that she is worth it in her current state. And that's the banner. So no Mim on this banner. Presumably, since this banner ends on the 5th, which are at the reset on 5th, which means the new banner will start at reset on the 5th, meaning that we'll most likely see Mim on that banner. We'll definitely probably know tomorrow with this month under Dragalia Lost. We'll probably see Mim on that banner with free summons, so look forward to that. But yeah, I do think that this banner is going to be worth it. I am going to be summoning on this banner personally myself. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to be going for Gala Reborn Nidhogg just for collection purposes, but I don't know if I'll be going for Alex, but we'll see. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.